want first to say you're being born in 1965 is an interesting coincidence, because that's the year in which the Immigration Reform Act that removed the preference for European immigrants over and against those from non-white countries into the United States was enacted. And everybody knows about the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Well, that Immigration Reform Act of 1965 may have been more important than, in terms of the social evolution of our country, than either of those statutes, as important as those statutes were. Because tens of millions of people from non-European ports of origin have come into the United States in the half century plus since that statute was enacted. And their grandchildren are among us. Some of their grandchildren are among us. Matt Taibbi, the journalist, has a newsletter, and his most recent post is about Loudoun County, Virginia. This was the site of the school board tussle about the father who got charged with a crime because he objected to, he behaved in an inappropriate way in a school board meeting, objecting to the rape of his daughter by a boy wearing a skirt, quote unquote, in a girl's bathroom in the school somewhere, whatever. This is Terry McAuliffe losing to Glenn Youngkin in that gubernatorial race because people think a big part of it was fighting about critical race theory in the schools in Loudoun County, and so on, a parent rebellion and so on and so forth. And Taibbi's argument is that the national media have completely misreported the reality of what's actually going on in terms of schools in Loudoun County. And here's, in my short version, of what's actually going on. What's actually going on is that this is the richest, one of the richest areas, or maybe the richest county in the United States. It's one of the top 10 for sure. It has a 20% South Asian population. A lot of them are techies. They are working in the high-tech industry. They're kind of like the Silicon Valley of the East Coast or something like that, and they're working for government contract enterprises that require technical skills. A lot of them are immigrants from southern India. That is to say, they're dark-skinned. They've come from Bangalore, Hyderabad, which is called Cyberabad by some people because there's so much high-tech information stuff that's going on around there. These people have come to America. They are not white. I repeat, they are not white.
And they don't feel
not black. They don't feel white, but they're also not black. They believe in the American dream because it has come true in their lives. Their kids ace the test, just like the Chinese American kids in the New York City exam school situation are acing the test. They ace the test. You want to get rid of gifted and talented, you have to do it over their dead bodies, because gifted and talented is one way that they get their kids into the Thomas Jefferson High School of Science and Technology, which is one way to get their kid into Harvard or Columbia or Penn or Brown to do physics or computer science or whatever it is that they're doing, because they are performing the skills required in the 21st century to participate in the modern world. And he says that at the root of it is what the education culture war in Loudoun County is about. Whether or not these brown-skinned, immigrant, believing in America, tech-savvy, excellent student-producing communities are going to have access to the public institutions of education on the basis commensurate with the talents and performative skills that they exhibit at something that's really hard to do, or whether they were going to be victimized by woke equity consultants coming in from California to tell them that they are actually white adjacent exploiters who are oppressing underperforming communities of color and preventing them from having access to the American dream. He says, both McAuliffe gets it wrong when he says racist dog whistle about parents who are complaining about the schools. And again, they're Trump voting, white supremacist loving, anti-black sentiment that's going on, when that's exactly not what was going on. I think Taibbi now is on to something really interesting here about both the press, who represent these subtle and complicated ethnographic dilemmas in simple black and white terms. but also about the reality of American life here in the 21st century, which is no longer anti-Black or pro-white or white supremacist, but which is largely, again, a replay in the 21st century of an old story about the dynamism of American society, where people come in from the outside. It's said to be a microaggression to observe that this is the place that people want to actually come. America is supposed to be so racist. How come so many people from non-white ports of origin are risking everything to get here? America's supposed to have no opportunity, according to the Ta-Nehisi Coates of the world. The American dream is a fraud. Then how come so many people are seeing their lives made so much better and the lives of their children made so much better by being able to participate in this society? And again, the arrow points backwards. How come Black people are not themselves seizing these opportunities? Very difficult question. A lot that can be said about it. But white supremacy, that's a childish, foolish, intellectually infantile, but politically convenient response to the question, why are Black people not availing ourselves of the same opportunities that people from every quarter of this world who are not Europeans seem to be able to make the best of?